Welcome back, movie lovers. I'm Josh.
I'm Chris.
And with our powers combined, we are Garner Brothers Movie Lovers. We are talking today about the Amazon Prime original film, 13 Lives, based on a true story about 13 boys trapped in a cave in Thailand during monsoon season that floods and fills and threatens all of their lives.
The film was directed by Ron Howard, and I just think his best movies are the ones based on true stories. He's done some really good true story movies.
Yeah, he has.
It stars
Viggo Mortensen, Colin Farrell, Joel Edgerton,
and a lot of people from Thailand. A ton of this cast is from Thailand. In fact, all of those boys are from the part of Thailand where those boys were really from. So that the accent, their Thai accent, is like correct. A lot of those boys had never acted before, and Ron Howard, I think,
he really got some good
really
work out
good
of them.
performances out of them. The story is incredible. You may have already seen. There's a documentary.
About it. In fact, I've had a lot of people tell me that they saw 13 Lives on Amazon Prime and just thought it was the documentary they had already watched. Don't make that mistake, because you should see this movie, even if you've seen the documentary.
I was just about to ask you that, because I never saw the documentary, and you said that you had. So
yeah.
I went straight to 13 Lives without having seen the documentary, and I loved it. It was super gripping, amazing story. I knew the gist of the story. You know, I remember when it was in the news all the time. But I didn't know very many of the particulars. So I wondered, having already seen the documentary and knowing as much of it as you did, was it worth watching this version of the film?
Absolutely, yeah. I knew exactly what was going to happen at every point in the movie, but I was still on the edge of my seat at the end of this movie. It is insane what they had to do to try to save these boys. It is something that had never been done before and probably has never been done since. And
hopefully will never have to be done again.
It will never have to be done again. Very well directed, incredibly acted by everyone all around. I really like those three actors we mentioned. Come on. There are some things from the documentary, I'll have to include this in our spoiler section, that I was surprised were left out. Some small things, but some things that I thought that could have added to the already great tension that they had built. We'll talk about that when we get to the spoiler section, but...
So, the making of this film was super impressive to me. I mean, the story is super impressive, but what they did to make the film just blew me away. The replica of the cave that they created so that they could shoot the movie was apparently super accurate. They had these divers that were the real guys on as consultants the whole time. The guy that Viggo Mortensen played was there on set.
I guess they could have used them as stuntmen.
They could have, except they didn't use stuntmen. Yeah. This is one of the most impressive things, because Viggo Mortensen wanted to do all of his own underwater stuff. And you watch these guys and all their underwater stuff, and I know it's edited in ways to make it seem more tense, but there's no way. I mean, I saw an interview with Colin Farrell at one point, and he said everybody had a freak out at some point while they were shooting those underwater scenes.
For sure.
They're in these super tight...
You see
caverns,
them squeezing through.
They're trying to, they've got huge air tanks they're trying to carry, and there's all these, pillars and stalagmites and stuff. They're trying to get around, and they get caught up on stuff. And he said every single actor, and they all did all their own underwater work. Once Viggo Mortensen, he wanted to do that. Everybody else was on board. So they all did all of their own stuff underwater, all their own shots. And of course they all had a freak out at some point, because you're underwater in a place where you will drown. If there's equipment malfunction, if you get stuck someplace, I mean, there's tons of helpers all around all the time, I'm sure, but that's an intense filming environment. Super intense. And
you get claustrophobic just watching it. I can't imagine being one of the actors portraying it.
Yeah.
Like, just watching it, you feel like you need to go outside and catch some fresh air, because you're going to drown watching this movie.
Just gripping. And the thing that I loved about it the most was this movie feels like a celebration of volunteerism. That's what it felt like to me.
Oh, yeah. What did they say at the end of the movie? It was like thousands of people from 17 different countries all came together to help save these boys. And you see that in the movie. They do a really good job of showing there's people who are doing extremely vital tasks that never meet other people doing extremely vital tasks that could never have been able to do what they did without the assistance of the people above who are diverting the water, the people who are pumping out the water.
And the farmers who allowed their fields to be
destroyed by
that
the
was like
floods.
one of the most moving things for me when I watched these farmers say, like, they asked
all
them,
agreed.
you know, we have to divert this water. The only place we can put it is your fields. We will have to flood your fields, and your crop for the entire year will be totally destroyed. And these farmers hardly take any time at all. And they look at each other and they nod and they're like,
for the kids,
for the boys.
Yeah.
And that was like so inspiring to me. So selfless and so willing to do whatever they can to help these boys. Man, what a movie. This is the kind of movie that just restores faith in humanity. I really, really...
When you think of heroes now, it's flying around on spaceships with shields and iron suits and electric hammers. And it's just like 3 old dudes with these dorky helmets with flashlights taped to them going underwater. And they are so awesome.
Real heroes.
Having seen the documentary and watched this, it didn't feel like there was embellishment to like make it feel more intense, more suspenseful than it really was. It just felt like they were trying to match what really
actually
happened.
Yep.
And they didn't have to try to make it more intense because it's
already
crazy.
so intense. Yeah, agreed.
The reality of it is even stranger, more sort of surprising than anyone who was there and sort of fictionalizing it could ever come up with.
It's time for Good, Fine, Bad.
Good! Fine. Good. Bad.
Fine.
That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad.
We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
Chris?
Great, fantastic fireworks.
Great, fantastic fireworks! Cue the cheering children!
So beautiful.
And you?
Yeah, no, great, fantastic fireworks. It was really good.
Yeah.
And I believe you mentioned to me it is currently your second favorite film of the year.
Yeah, no, it is. This is one of the best movies I've seen this year. No question.
Everyone has Amazon Prime, and you all have Amazon Prime. Go watch this freaking movie. It's so good. Spoiler warning from here on out. In the documentary, and I think the reason that you love it so much is a celebration of, humanity trying to help save these boys. There was a little bit of corruption and bad in the documentary.
Interesting.
That they decided to
not mention.
So the leaders of Thailand made it clear that if these British divers allowed any of the boys to die, they would be facing prison in Thailand.
Oh my gosh.
They would be blamed for their deaths.
Wow. Including that in the movie really would have thrown Thailand's government under the bus.
But
if they did that...
It shows how much more heroic it is for those British divers to go through with it.
Well, did they know that? Did they know they were going to go to prison if anybody died? Oh my gosh.
That was something they talked about in the documentary that they had to struggle with, because once it was passed from the Thai Navy SEALs to these British guys, and it was like, it's up to you. Like, once they told them the plan, and they were like, so you expect people to die? And they were like, yeah, we probably won't be able to save all of them. Then they said, you better save all of them, because if you don't,
you're going to
the
prison.
One who's going to prison.
Oh my gosh. No, that doesn't come out in this movie at all. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's crazy.
Wow.
So,
wow.
At any rate, those guys are incredible people. So, you should watch this movie. Chris Evans calls Ryan Gosling a Ken doll. And finger guns. Go see it in theaters. We highly recommend it. It's very, very, very good. You can't see it in theaters. Don't see it in
can't.
theaters. But watch it on Amazon Prime.